Comic-Con going? Great. Yeah. Well, I'm the moderator for the Superpowers, Superheroes, Pop Culture, Con Culture, and the Representation of the Neurodivergent Mind. I couldn't think of a longer title, I guess. But I wanted to cover just about everything. And thankfully, I got some great panelists here that are helping me out to represent everything that we can in the con culture, pop culture. And so I'm going to go ahead and start my introduction. But first, I want to just do a little. This is a panelist right here. His name is Ryan McCarthy. Hi, Ryan. Right, do you want to tell us a little bit about your stuff? I have up in here the pictures you sent me.
Yes. I'm Ryan McCarthy. I'm I'm an author and artist. And I self-published my own book series. Of course, I run a little brand called RM Productions, which has tons and tons of characters. But my big push is my manga series, which for me, this is my first panel ever at a show. So a lot of big firsts.
Well, welcome, Ryan. I'm happy to have you here. I'm glad you were able. Ryan is doing double duty right now. He has an event going on in, was it Ridgecrest?
Yes.
In Ridgecrest that he is taking time out of, and he's driving to Ridgecrest after this so he can be a part of it. So we're lucky to have him here today.
My mom is running that for me, but she likes Ridgecrest. She can handle that one.
Well, before I introduce our next panelist, let's show a little bit of her work.
Well, what would you do with a brain if you had one?
Do? Why, if I had a brain, I could file away the hours, confirm with the flowers, consult with the brain. In my head, I'd be scratching while I thought of building action if I only had a brain. I'd unravel every riddle, for any infidel, trouble for it.
Stupid thinking you could be a mockery if you only had a brain.
Oh, why, the ocean's near the shore, I could think of things I never thought before. And then I'd sit, and think that more, I would not be just a number, my head all full of stuff, my heart all full of pain. I would dance and be merry, I would be a millionaire if I only had a brain. Gosh, it would be awful treason to reason out the reason of things I can't explain. Then perhaps I'll deserve you and be even worthier if I only had a brain.
So our next panelist is Dani Bowman.
So, hi everybody, I'm Dani Bowman, founder and CEO of Danimation Entertainment, an animation company that I started in 2009. I've been helping educating, elevating, and empowering people on the autism spectrum by helping them turn their passion in animation into a career. And you may have saw me from the Netflix Emmy Award-winning show called Love on the Spectrum US. By the way, season 2 of Love on the Spectrum US is coming out early January, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Thank you, Dani, and thank you for sharing your animation clip with us. I'm sure we can find lots more of your
No
work.
problem.
Yeah. So next up, we have Jeremy and Ilana Hamburgh. And if you could just tell us a little bit about My Best Social Life.
Yeah, I just realized I have no talent compared to these two. Ilana and I are the founders of My Best Social Life, where we run the Social Life 360 program. It is a first-of-its-kind program anywhere in the world that empowers autistic and neurodivergent adults who want to find community, make friends, and start dating. And we do it through a combination of community and asynchronous learning and private coaching. And what's really, really cool is that we teach social skills and strategies using formulas and diagrams and step-by-step processes, which are much easier for the neurodivergent brain to digest and appreciate. So this is our first Comic-Con, hopefully the first of many, and thanks for having us. This is really cool.
I concur. I'm definitely surrounded by talented and amazing people that are making the neurodivergent people seen and heard and represented. So I'm happy to be a part of that. So let's just get started with how the representation is for superheroes and in pop culture. Like I was doing some looking around, and I was finding that there are plenty of characters that are emerging with either coded or that are defined as neurodivergent. Did you want to talk about any of the representation that you're seeing out there? You want to go first, Dani?
Okay, so yes, there are, and I think there are some plenty of representations, and the PowerPoint presentation that you show in the slide are incredible good examples. So I would like to show several examples of all the other characters on the autism spectrum that are not listed. For example, if you have watched the Netflix show Dead End Paranormal Park, there is an animated character named Norma, and Norma is based upon the creator's self growing up as a person on the autism spectrum. And we also have the Mitchells from Mitchells versus the Machines. They're considered to be autism-coded family, which it's so much fun to see that each family members of the Mitchells have different interests. Like for example, Katie is into filmmaking, Aaron is into dinosaurs, Linda Mitchell is into baking, and we have Rick Mitchell into nature. All four of them have fixations. That's another autism coded. And one of my favorites is the kid from Kid Cosmic, created by Craig McCracken, who also did the Powerpuff Girls. So his passions, such as how he handles emotions, his intense passion for things, and single-minded pursuit, among other traits, make me relate to him so much. So, and a lot of people feel that he's coded as neurodivergent, but it was never really expressed directly. And another thing I love about it is the superpower he has, and best of all, he's fixated with the stones, the cosmic stones. I love collecting rocks and minerals since I was a child, and I can imagine what it would be like if the stones were real. Best of all, the show has 3 testaments, like what does it mean to be a true hero? Like heroes help not hurt, heroes care and look out for each other, and heroes self-sacrifice for the greater good.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, Ryan, do you want to?
Well, I did have 2 ideas up here. I actually, this is what I forgot, I should have said images of these characters, although one of them probably doesn't need an image, but you proposed ideas of characters that you think are coded as neurodivergent, and I had a big epiphany of Batman when I really, really thought about it, that I don't think I've seen anyone else ever say, because...
Can you tell us a little bit why you feel that the qualities maybe that's leading you towards that way?
Single-minded pursuit, kind of took one theme of yourself, and that became, because you had a fear of bats. You know what? I'm going to make that fear be my strength. Single-minded pursuit. I want to stop people from. I want to stop crime because I was hurt by crime. In fact, I was hurt by crime so much that the thing that hurt me, a gun, I refuse to use even to my detriment, because I follow a code that I decided, and I will follow to the T. And it doesn't matter. And just a general obsession. You have one thing. What do you like? Bats. So I'm going to have a bat car. I'm going to have a bat plane. I'm going to have a bat credit card. It's all going to be on there and on it. And
I think the audience is agreeing with
and
you.
and probably the biggest one, what part of you is the mask and which isn't? Which part is Bruce Wayne and which part is Batman? And some say he sees himself as Batman first. It really was when you brought up the questions when I finally thought of that. I don't think I did. And then this character I think needs, but one of my personal favorite of the autistic orgies It's not suggested from the creators, but it's a game called Katawa Shoujo. If anyone knows what that is, it's a visual novel. But there's a character in it, her name is Rinda, and she is a painter. And her big thing is that she doesn't have arms, and the constant part of this character is that she doesn't know how to communicate with people through words or expressions, so she tries to paint with her feet, because that's all she can use, and she's really good at it. And her constant thing is like, I don't need to talk to people or make sense to people. They just need to look at my painting. It's right there. Don't you see it? And no, I naturally know everyone has different interpretations of which I relate, because that's what I do with my books.
And do your books have anything? Do you have any characters that you consider?
Well, a lot of, so in my story, there's these characters called the Children of the Ancient Land, and they're children born with special powers. Now, in this case, the special powers are just themed to, it's called Tamashi, which is about a girl named Tamashi, and the whole plight of the series is there's children born with special powers, and to some, the power doesn't feel like a superpower. It gets in the way, it gets people to be afraid or judge them for other reasons, and to other, and it's generally the idea is it's a whole metaphor for, or I don't know, analogy for children with special needs, which is like me, so I'll take that direction with my story.
That's funny that you mentioned that, because part of coming up with a title for this panel was like, I was thinking real hard about neurodivergent and what that meant. And so many people think of it as a challenge or a disability, but I really feel like it's a superpower. And I was like, this belongs at a Comic-Con. We need to be talking about the superpowers and the amazing things that anybody on the spectrum, neurodivergent, have abilities that other people are thinking and wired in a different way, and I find it amazing what's happening. And I think that's if we start seeing more representation, as we are, that we can see how those people are the way that they're represented. We will more people will be embraced and seen it in a different way as a superpower. But Jeremy and Ilana, if you wanted to speak to with your clients, do they feel like representation matters? That they feel like they're being seen more? Because I know we spoke a little pre-panel about how important it is to be seen. And what's your experience with that?
Yeah, I think representation in pop culture is so significant because neurodivergence represents so many people in society, and for us as humans to be able to see ourselves in TV and movies is so crucial. But we do, our clients come to us and they have these amazing superpowers, and we are inspired by them all the time. But we have to be realistic that we can't just show the superpowers. We have to show the challenges and the vulnerabilities, because that's real life, and that's what people struggle with. That's people's gifts, but there are also struggles in life, and we have to show the whole picture.
When I started out as an autism dating coach 14 years ago, people looked at me like I had 3 heads, like I was crazy. They were like, why would you be a dating coach? And if you were, why are you going to be a dating coach for people on the autism spectrum? And representation of autism in pop culture, particularly Love on the Spectrum, has created a massive shift in the world, to the point where I don't have to justify what we do for a living anymore, right? When someone asks us, what do we do? And we say, we're friendship and dating coaches for adults on the spectrum, they get it.
And I would just add, I would say 9 out of 10 people, Dani, when we say that, they say, have you seen Love on the Spectrum?
That's true.
And we see a biggest majority raising their hands, like say they saw Love on the Spectrum.
And what's so important in my life is, I was a lawyer for 14 years. people want to know how on earth did I go from being a lawyer to being an autism and neurodivergent friendship and dating coach. And I was afraid as I was making that transition that my parents wouldn't accept my transition into working in the neurodivergent community full time. And the thing that helped was Love on the Spectrum. My mom would go to the gym every day and watch an episode of Love on the Spectrum and cry on the treadmill. And she called me one day and she said, I understand why you do what you do. And without neurodivergent and autistic representation, I probably wouldn't be speaking to my parents right now. They'd want to know why they paid for law school, and instead they're very, very proud of the work that we do.
Awesome. Okay, so I know that there's some controversy in what portrayal of autism and being on the spectrum. So, is there anything that you believe that can be improved, or anything that maybe they need to show more than they are? I don't know. If there's anything you can think of.
I'm happy to start.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Danny, you want to go, or you want to answer that? Somebody else? Ryan first. You want to do that?
Are you ready, or you don't?
My pet peeve is always that we're always treated like we're a human supercomputer for some reason. There's the classic throw toothpicks. How many? How fast can you count them? Luckily, I haven't run into that one, but I've had that with a family member where we saw a documentary about someone on the spectrum, and you could name a date, any date, time, year. He would be able to tell you exactly how many hours, how many minutes, how many days that time is from the present. And I had a family member that was like, "Why can't you do that? Why do you just draw cartoons?" That kind of stuff.
Hopefully there's some understanding.
Yeah, because we all are very different, and it's definitely true. I definitely would agree what you are saying about it. It is important because accurate depictions of people in the media helps neurodivergent people relate to characters in a much deeper and meaningful way. It deepens the connection between the characters and the viewers, but while having some representation in a character, they may not be well defined, but more of a stereotype. Almost everybody's familiar with the movie Rain Man, which featured a character that was obviously on the spectrum. But was this character defined as an individual or a stereotype? Probably the latter. I think it's important that neurodiverse characters are more than a stereotype and are trying to be defined as a whole. A better depiction also would be Temple Grandin, and especially in her eponymous HBO biopic. It does show her struggles. Not only it shows her struggles, but also her strength as well. And especially because, and of course, Love on the Spectrum is mentioned thanks to the dating coaches, right?
Well, I'll talk about Love on the Spectrum and a little bit about depictions. I think one of the things that I don't love about the depiction of neurodivergence and autism in the world right now is that there's this impression that neurodivergent people should only be with other neurodivergent people. And Ilana and I do a lot of work with matchmakers. We work with matchmakers from around the world because our clients like to work with matchmakers. And every time we meet a new matchmaker, I would say the first question we're always asked is, if I work with an autistic client, do I need to introduce them to another autistic client? And I think that's a bit of a disservice because of, I think it's a misconception that is created in the media right now that, if you're autistic, you should be with other autistic people. Your friend should be autistic, your date should be autistic, and the fact of the matter is, we see countless instances where people on the spectrum, people who are neurodivergent, have wonderful friendships and wonderful relationships with people who are not neurodivergent, who are neurotypical or something approximating that, whatever neurotypicality is. And so that's what we see as the weakness right now, and we would like to see more representation of neurodivergent people being able to interact with the broader world.
Well, that's a good transition. Did you want to add to that? Okay, that's a good transition because speaking about the broader world, here we are at Comic-Con. And so, I mean, I know that for me, it's a great place for community and bringing a lot of people who like a lot of different things together, pop culture together. Do you find that the convention space is a place that has space for the neurodivergent and autism spectrum people? Like, how do you feel, being at the cons? Is this your space?
Well, I always feel I bump into more people that know what I'm talking about whenever although I gotta say, sometimes the crowds can get overwhelming. Luckily, luckily when you're like me, you at least know how to find at least the quieter spots. Or if I'm doing an artist, because mostly when I'm at a convention, I'm in my own space. I usually have an artist alley table just selling my wares, which I always feel gives me a more leg up for people, because I actually discussed this with a fellow creative where people are always talking about all your, you get to sell your work all the time, and that must be so great and easy. And it's like, no, it's not. Because probably the hardest thing, which I don't even know if it's exclusive to something with someone with autism, but it's just probably the hardest thing to deal with is just the apathy that you get from most people that walk by your table. You pretty much have your entire heart and mind right for the world to see, and you get plenty of people that are just go in. And believe me, it hurts every single time. And
My goodness.
But keep going.
which, yes, you learn to kind of focus it. Like, I'm pretty sure this isn't exclusive. I imagine this is anyone doing creative work. This is a thing, but it's
When you put yourself out there when you do anything, that's great,
yes, and you just
you
keep going until you get one of these.
Add to this, what's the question again?
About how the con culture does this create a community? Do you feel like comfortable here?
Yes, it does. It definitely creates a whole community, what I see. And it's definitely, and just to let you know that everybody has different reactions, like whether people are on the autism spectrum or not. Everybody is different on how they feel about the conventions. For me, I am definitely get so excited about going to the cons and interacting with people. This is definitely part of my world.
Being that this is our first convention, didn't exactly know what to expect. And, I think of it through the lens of some of our clients, and I think about the space and the number of people and the sounds and the smells and all of those sensory inputs. And I would think to myself, wow, this would be a challenging environment for them. But we just ran into one of our clients and we spoke to him, and he was asking us about how our first time here is going, and for us as neurotypicals, we were like, this is overwhelming. And he was like, don't worry, you keep coming back, you'll get used to it. And I'm like, okay now. But I think the big thing is being among people that share your passions and being able to dress as you please and being confident and comfortable and not feeling judged by anybody. And that's what makes this such a special place.
Yeah. So in our program, we talk about what a friend is, and we broke it down into a formula because that's what we do. A friend is someone who shares your passion, who puts equal effort into the relationship, and who accepts you for who you are, and vice versa. And we had a special guest in our community call, in our program community call a few weeks ago. He's an autistic business owner. He also runs our marketing. He's one of my favorite guys. And one of our clients, who's like a very smart guy, he works in like national defense. He said, "Can I talk about Lego?" And I said, "Why wouldn't you talk about Lego?" And he says, like, "I feel like a freak when I talk about Lego. And this guy, Steven Rodriguez, who was the special guest, he's like, look behind you, dude. Like, I got like 25 Lego sets that I built right behind me. And like, this,
And that's just part of his collection.
and that's just part of his collection. And you know, one of the things that we're very conscious of in our program, in our community, is letting our clients let their freak flag fly, which is a tongue twister that I wasn't going to try to do in front of a microphone. But what I love about the convention, and I'm a veteran of conventions, having been here now for an hour and a half. Everyone here lets their freak flags fly, and you know what? If you look at that definition of what a friend is, starting with number one, someone who shares a passion with you. If you're having trouble finding someone who likes Lego, or who likes anime, or who likes Pokemon, or who likes Star Wars, this is your place, right? But as everyone else was saying, you have to balance it out with the overwhelm that is the amount of people here and the sensory input. And so I don't know whether Comic-Con provides sensory safe spaces for people who are neurodivergent. And if they do, I don't know how well it is advertised, but I hope it is, because
Yes.
is it good or bad?
I think it would be great. Well, it is good that if they did provide a quiet room when I was at SIGGRAPH at one time. I enjoyed it. It's really nice. It allows me to take a break and stay at the convention last longer. But you're right. It could have been done better to provide a sensory-friendly environment and space.
Yeah, so there is a sensory-friendly space here at Comic-Con?
I'm not aware. Is anybody aware of one?
Stairs, right. Which makes autistic people the new smokers, right? You have to, oh my God, we have to hide ourselves in a quiet place, but it isn't there. And so,
I think Ryan says he's
I found that little snack bar with all the cotton candy that's, I think, right below us. That was a pretty quiet area.
But I think the issue is that there's not a designated space that's advertised. If you need a place to just decompress, to have a little quiet time, take a break, take a deep breath.
it's a stim, so you're not doing it out in public.
Yeah, and just know that there's that place where you can go and relax and take a moment.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be smart for the cons to incorporate that, because the point of them is they want you to be here as long as you've been here. They want you to stay the whole time. They want you to enjoy every piece of from the convention floor to the panels to the shows, whatever the gaming, everything that you could possibly do. So it's definitely a good idea. I'll have to send that we all should get together and make sure that the conventions that we love the most find a place to have that kind of space. And I believe, especially at this convention hall, they definitely have the space to provide something like that.
Even having some fidgets or
Hobbits.
Yes, different sensory materials, just so that people have that option.
So, do you feel like that being in the con environment with the different fan communities, what do you think that conventions are doing to make this space more inclusive? Do you have an answer?
I think I want to think about that one.
Oh, I'm the last person to ask that question. Again, an hour and 30 of expertise is insufficient.
If I could actually say, I already feel like this is probably one of the more inclusive places you could really ever be. I've been to plenty of conventions. It almost feels like there's no other place you can go. You get people dressing up, showing off just their shirtless whatever, doing whatever, It's like I can't really imagine aside from, I don't know, it's basically like a self-approved insane asylum, I guess.
I'm definitely going to say the same thing. But there's one thing I just really wanted to add when it comes to making it more inclusive. And yes, fan communities can support one another. And today we live in the world that the internet make it easier for people to create online communities and discuss and enjoy their common interests. It's a little bit more difficult to translate this ease of meeting up in real life. Cons are one way that can do that, but as I discussed, they're there has not really been a dedicated effort to facilitate specific meetups and specific groups. So yes, it's always very important to include specific groups there. Or like Scumability meetups.
That's nice. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that. One of the things that I actually found surprising was how little you see the word autism or neurodivergence when it comes to Comic-Con or really any conventions. And the fact of the matter is there's, I know from our clients that almost all of them go to Comic-Con and fly to Comic-Cons, wherever they are. And so I know that this is a hub of autism and neurodivergent culture, and yet there is no place other than this panel, Christiane, for people who are neurodivergent and autistic to find each other, because, and I think that's something that can change fairly easily. So I hope that this panel is really the start of something, here in con culture, where we can allow people to be under a banner, under a label, if they want to be, so they can find people who share their brain wiring and who understand their journey. Because right now they're out there, right? There are thousands of autistic and neurodivergent people out on this floor right now, but they can't find each other. They don't know that they're there, and I think that's a place that con culture can ultimately.
I don't know if you guys want to add, if you have anything else you want to add. I was going to open it up. I don't know if anyone has any questions. We can we have time to take a couple of questions. I saw your hand go up first.
Actually, yeah, I had a question for you. You said that.
Is this for Ryan?
Yeah, for Ryan.
Okay, right, okay.
So, one question. You had said, this is my own experience going around the con. When I walk by a lot of different booths, I don't really know how to respond to the person because I may not be able to or interested in buying that person's product. So I tend to try to avoid eye contact because I don't want to imply I'm going to buy something. But in your experience, would you prefer someone who had no intention at that moment to purchase, strike up a conversation with you and ask about it, or move on so that you could potentially talk to a person who would? I'm sorry, I just became very insecure about that.
I love that question because I felt the same way.
Yeah. So that's a creator.
Well, even if you're moving on, we're still trying to find a way to get you to stop, so I feel like it's a lose-lose for either of us. I would say if you just show interest, because that at least tells us we're doing the right thing. Hey. Yeah.
You guys were talking earlier about how you feel like the superpower is attributed to neurodivergent individuals in media are not really representations of how neurodivergent as a superpower could be. So I'm curious, for those who are neurodivergent, what superpower would you like to have represented as a neurodivergent individual?
Like a super, like a
Whatever you want.
I'm trying to understand the question.
That uses your particular strength as neurodivergent. So like, because I know not all neurodivergent individuals, like you said, are like the super calculating kind. So like, how would you like your individual things to be represented as a superpower in media?
I haven't really been on that one.
Jan, do you have anything?
So what's the question again?
So, because you guys are saying how, like, in a lot of media, if there's a neurodivergent character with a superpower, it's oftentimes, they can, like, do human computer type stuff. So, and I know you guys each have your own individual strengths in the neurodivergence. How would you like those strengths to be represented as a superpower in media?
Well, as represented in the superpower in media, I would say there's some characters, I would say have multiple neurodiverse characters, have a diversity of people on the spectrum, characters on the spectrum that have different powers, and they have different talents. Everybody's different.
So one thing that we teach our clients is that there's a difference between a strength and a superpower, and I think that's really important to acknowledge first. There are about 25 different overarching strengths that we can have, starting from loyalty to loving, honest, but having a strength and having a superpower are not the same thing. Okay? What makes a strength into a superpower is that you have a plan for using it in the real world, and then you take that strength into the real world and you actually use it. And so I can't talk to being neurodivergent because I am not, but what I can tell you though is that looking at our clients, there are some strengths that unify all of them despite how different they are. And the one that comes to mind for me most is their loyalty. Our clients are the most loyal people on the planet. When they make a friend, there is no friend like them. They really hold you tight. And that is not something that is all that common in the neurotypical world or the broader world, right? And so, we talk to our clients all the time about how it is harder when your brain is wired differently to make friends and to start dating. But if you can show that you are a loyal person and that you're an honest person to someone else who has struggled with relationships where people were not loyal to them and not honest with them, man, oh man, is that a refreshing superpower to have. And I would love to see that superpower represented more in pop culture.
Not directly related to the superpowers, but aside from Love on the Spectrum, one of my favorite shows is As We See It. Anybody seen it? Great show. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. For me, that show was so impactful because not only were the actors on the spectrum themselves, but it showed 3 characters who are completely different in every way. The way their autism presents is completely different. Their strengths, their challenges, their personalities, their goals, their values, everything about them was so different. And so often people lump people on the spectrum together and have this vision of all people on the spectrum are like this. And this was a show that really showed the diversity of who they are as individuals.
Well, I just wanted to take this time to kind of let you guys kind of tell us a little bit more about what you're doing. So if you wanted to start off with Dani, because I know Dani has a passion. And I just wanted, I know that we shared your video, but if you wanted to let us know if you have anything like upcoming or you told us about season 2, but are you on season 2?
Yes, it's been confirmed that I'm on season 2 of Love on the Spectrum US, coming out of January 2024. And what I do for a living is that I teach one-on-one animation sessions for people on the autism spectrum. The video that you saw earlier were created by students. All these animations were made by students on the autism spectrum. We also do like an in-house animation studio projects, and we're right now in the middle of doing an animated short film that we're going to premiere at Comic-Con next year called Too Smart to Be Trendy, alongside with another film by one of our students, by Peyton Hepler. She's right now creating a short film that she'll premiere at Comic-Con called Isaac and the Firefly Queen for Comic-Con. And I'm also going to be speaking early January 8th through the 10th in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and then followed by Orlando, Florida with Card.
Dani, is that San Diego? Is that where the video is going to be at? Or
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con is I do it every July.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Ryan, what's the event that you do every year? Tell us a little bit about your origin there, and then if you have anything upcoming.
Well, I'm not a California native, unfortunately. I'm actually from Western Massachusetts originally, and I've actually moved out here with some family about 2 years ago. Although I've actually every summer, I've actually done a little return trip to at least some other shows that I did before I came out here. But I started out I just did like a chapter of a story that I had an idea for, and then it's just grown to having 10 volumes just about a girl named Tamashi, and just trying to get it all into the right people's hands. And At the current moment, things are dying down a bit. I think I do a lot of just freelance. I attend events. I'm like, hey, here's a bunch of my stuff, which you could bring up by my table. I do tons of stuff. I'm very flexible. I've been trying to do animation. I feel like once I get that down, I can do good. But I do a lot of sequential art and illustration. You can see most of it. The table up in the left, that's Retro World Expo in Hartford, Connecticut from this year. And actually, my first convention ever was Kineticon in that same convention center, which just recently I managed to book a table at Kineticon. So after coming from just having a table with art prints on it and coming out here and upgrading and getting a presentation like that, having books, now plushies, a trading card game featuring my characters, and tons of other multimedia stuff. I'm going to be able to see if all that does well at Kineticon again. But
Can anybody buy these items?
yes, Tamashi is available on Amazon, Blurb, and my own personal store. In fact, if anyone's willing to take, it's also available right now on Global Comics digitally, and I am currently offering for December the entire series so far, 1 through 10, at 30% off. So,
So those are for people to
yep,
take?
if you come and take these, it'll bring you right to the page if you scan the QR code.
And one more thing, if anybody could grab my business card, my business cards contain a QR code to the free introduction animation class. So I provide free introduction animation classes like almost every Saturday. So if you have a child or teen or adult that is interested in taking our free introduction animation class, take my business card with a QR code on it.
I'll take it.
Okay, let's round this out your question. Jeremy and Ilana, did you want to let us know about like where they can find you? Where are your where they can find you? Where are you going next? I know you're always going somewhere.
We are doing a matchmaking conference in Philadelphia, followed by a conference with college living experience in Washington, D.C. I think we're going to meet in Atlanta. Ilana and I tend to live on airplanes, which is great if you have a good frequent flyer credit card, and we don't. So we just end up in a lot of delays. But I will say that Ilana and I are on a really, really cool little journey right now. About a year ago, so I wrote the curriculum for Social Life 360 for our program. And one of the things that I love about our clients is they're very open with criticism. They're very honest. And so I thought last December I was going to take the entire month of December and revamp the entire program and relaunch it, and that was that. We have now been working hand in hand with our clients for the last 11 months on revamping all 40 skills that we teach in the program. We rewrite the formulas and the diagrams. We present them to our clients on a Wednesday community call. We take feedback from them, and then we finalize the modules that we teach. And so I never really expected to run this. Well, I was a lawyer. I never expected to be an autism Frenchman dating coach, period.
I was a special ed teacher in New York, so.
And I never expected to marry my employee. But it's really, yes, 6 months and 2 days of marriage. And what's really cool is we actually coach our clients side by side. So no matter, so when our clients come to us with a question, we are side by side like this, and they get a special ed female perspective and they get my perspective. But we are coming to the conclusion of this iterative process of working with our clients in Social Life 360 to revamp the formulas and the processes that help them understand and thrive in the social world. So we're very proud of that collaborative process.
I actually also missed one thing for my news, Volume 11, 2024. Got a lot of work to do on that.
Comic-Con tomorrow, so could they find you somewhere tomorrow selling your stuff?
Oh, well, actually, I'm gonna be in Ridgecrest instead because my second show ever in California was in a small town art shop called Santa's Art Shop, which it's always the same weekend as this event, but the first time I ever did that one, almost sold 100 books, so Ridgecrest gets the priority. Until these guys want to move to the
They are.
then at the very least, that'll help me there.
It's signed up for next year. I think you're already taking some reservations. Probably not artist out. We want to just,
No, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to say that my daughter Rachel and Dani and I was to say we're 13. I don't think it's a long time. But as you were discussing the sensory issues, Rachel's also on the spectrum, and Dani and Rachel support each other 100%. And she volunteers with an organization called Culture City, and then she made some news for you.
That culture city help make other listen and provide a sense of space and community.
Thank you, Rachel.
what's the name of the?
It's Culture City.
Culture City.
Okay.
They do NFL, NBA concerts. She was Dr. Mama, is the president of Culture City.
Okay.
She said, "Oh, just volunteering." And she just texted them. She just responded, "Let's
Oh.
do it." And
All right, see, we're making changes. Yeah, good job. 2024 got better. You might be here. We're going to have inclusive, nice
they actually
spaces.
come in and they build everything.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I can throw in one other thing, just since I know this is being recorded. Thank you, Mom, for watching my Facebook. Sorry, after this, that's where I'm headed.
Well, I posted where they can find you. I didn't put all your social media in there. You're on the web. You're everywhere.
All my business cards are actually out there. I forget. That was one thing I forgot.
But don't forget, Ryan's cards are here, and Danny has business cards as well. And we have a lot to look forward to, I guess, in 2024. Netflix will be coming back with Love on the Spectrum US and
Season 2.
Season 2.
If anyone would like any of these copies, they're free to go. I just brought them here for display, but now their job is done.
All right.
And if anybody wants to continue the conversation with us, we'd love to chat. So we have a QR code, just a little contact information, and we're very good at emailing, so we'll get back to you pretty quick.
I will say we were available until their iPad battery ran. Then we're done.
There's a charging station.
They're charging. She was smart enough to get like a 10-foot cord because we didn't know what we would have here.
Well, my name is Christiane Elin, and I've been doing panels here. This is my 11th year doing panels at Los Angeles Comic-Con. And I'm so excited for this panel. These are all new people. I met Ryan and Dani just on the internet. Thank you, internet. And Jeremy, we had a mutual friend and brought us all together. And I'm so happy. I think the panels turned out great. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And make sure you let Los Angeles Comic Con know that you enjoyed it, and they can invite us back again. Thank you.